Welcome to Truth Be Told. We are in the Room series, and I am so excited to see you all on Facebook Live. I am your host, Michelle Lorraine, and today we're going to be talking about to change or not to change. And my guest is my sister, Kareen Smith, and she is older than me. She's the one up from me. So I have three sisters. We've got Andrea, Kareen, myself, and then Sophie. Right. Sophie, you saw her at my last Truth Be Told where we went to the spa, and it was great. I'm telling you, I love getting a massage. So again, if you want to get a massage, go to Savon Massage. So today we're talking about changes, and before we even start on our topic, I want my sister to tell you a little bit about herself.
Thank you, my sister. I am Kareen Smith, and I am one of Michelle's older sister. As she said, we've got Andrea, myself, Michelle, and we've got Sophie. Mom and Dad's got 4 girls, and I'm married to Bishop Barrington E. Smith. Actually, I married Brother Barrington, and now over the years, the Lord has caused some changes to take place, and now he's Bishop Barrington E. Smith. He's the pastor of Kingdom Life Ministries. We have been married for 31 years. We have 3 children, Candace, Sharice, and Dylan. Let's see now, I have a job. I actually went into the office today, and to be honest, it was very stressful having been there for so long, and all the protocols to get through the front door was quite challenging, and to stay masked for the day was challenging. So I can just imagine all the health professionals, and for all of you, I feel it for you. The strength of the Lord be with you. And I also have a blog, and my blog is firstladykareen.com. If you want to read some of my articles that I've written and uploaded, we've got some videos on there as well too. If you're interested, you can look for me again. That's firstladykareen.com. I'm excited to be here with Michelle, and we're going to talk about changes on if we're talking about the truth being told.
Oh Lord, I'm
yes.
telling you. Okay, so yes, we're going to be talking about changes, and as I tell you all the time, please feel free to share this on your social media, and also follow me on Instagram. We've got Michelle Lorraine or ML Exclusive, and you'll also find me on YouTube. I think today we are live on YouTube, right, Jalen? All right, so hey, we're progressing, we're making changes are happening. And so today now we're going to talk about changes in life. So for example, we talk about just the physical life cycle. So a woman gets pregnant.
Right.
And of course, you know, ladies, we're talking to you. We get pregnant. We go through that change.
Yes.
So we get the morning sickness, the stomach gets bigger.
Right, the mood swings. The appetite changes.
Some people's hair grows.
Some fall out.
Some people's nose gets swollen.
Right, some get darker.
Yeah, so there are so many changes that you go through just for that first part of the cycle.
That's right.
Of change. So we want to encourage, women, understand that changes happen, and that's okay. We just have to kind of roll with the punches and learn from the changes, and being able to encourage other people that go through changes. So we've got the pregnancy change. Then we have the infancy.
Yes.
So
talking about the babies.
Yeah.
I had 3, and the challenge of changing from being focused on your husband now to be focused on a child, it's challenging, and not to let your husband feel excluded from the relationship now, because you're now, all your attention is on feeding, changing, cooking, laundry, baby, and that's it. So that's another change that's implemented into the relationship, and if we're not careful, the relationship can be strained if we don't have that balance or know how to balance it. Because I believe in some cases, some husbands can feel jealous of the attention given to a child. This is a big change, and as women, we're more nurturing. Men are not as nurturing. Our roles are different, so we've got to bring balance to the change that's taking place.
Yeah, most definitely. And with that change, we have to understand that even with the child also changes. So there's always some kind of progression that's happening. So first you get pregnant, you have your infant, and then you have them at the stage as a toddler. So now you're teaching them some important
Basic.
tools like reading and writing and
Right.
pronunciation, counting and things like that. And that's a change that you're going through with your family or with your children, but it's also a change that you're going through for yourself, because maybe if you didn't have kids, now you're becoming a teacher, not
Yeah.
just a nurturer, but now you're becoming a teacher to your
right.
children, right?
And you're learning through the process yourself, because I don't think every book that there is have the blueprint for every change that's taking place as children are growing. Suppose you've got the screamer, the yeller, the temper tantrum child, and now you're being a behavioral therapist as well too, trying to balance all of that. So it's a lot of changes that takes place.
Yeah, and then of course after that stage you've got puberty, and trust me, puberty I think might be the hardest thing. I remember
Right.
my sister Andrea said to me one time, she goes, I was so excited about having a baby, and you get home and you're thinking, oh, I have this wonderful baby, and then puberty hits, and it's a whole different ball game, because
Right.
puberty is different. You are going through the changes of them,
Right.
going through their own changes,
Right.
trying to develop their autonomy, like,
Right.
oh, I don't need to listen to you. If my mom's watching, she knows I was a good child. I didn't cause no trouble, right?
Yeah, but
Are you agreeing I didn't cause any trouble?
You know what? I'm agreeing. I'm gonna agree now, because if not, But the truth be told is that we're all different.
Yeah, definitely.
Every child is different, and there's not a blueprint for each child, and the changes that each child goes through is different. Some children handle puberty better than others, and some really struggle because they're going to try to find their own. Don't forget about that warring going on in their body. Their body's changing from a child to an adult. So there's a whole lot going on there. So puberty is a challenge. So
yeah, I think it's one of the biggest changes that they go through, and it also impacts the parents as well. So, like for example, I know that even Cheyenne and Jalen, they're two different characters, and I'm sure Sharice, Dylan, and
children.
Candace are different, right? So everybody is kind of different in their own way, and what they go through is just different. So after you have puberty, then you have the young adult or the adolescent age, which now they're becoming into their own being, like doing their own thing. I found that even with, let's say, starting off with Cheyenne, and she's in the room, by the way, and so is Jalen, so they're in the room. We're talking about them
in front of them,
and they can defend themselves if they want.
And we will.
So, like for example, with Cheyenne, I found that Cheyenne was really, 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 really mature when she was from a little tiny girl. So she was always like wanted to be responsible and take care of Jalen. Now Jalen was very independent
and didn't want to be
don't
taken
take care of me.
I
Don't
can do
try
it.
to do this.
Don't bother
I know
me.
what
I
I'm
can
doing.
do this by myself.
Right? Two
Yeah.
different type of individuals,
Right.
and I'm not sure, how do you find with yours?
That is exactly it. I have 3 different personalities. My children are 3 different children. And the good thing is that I instill the fear of God in them very early, and their father, we just instilled it. So it was just a look, and they would behave. So there was not much all of that, battling going on, but they're 3 different individuals. Candace has really got her dad's personality, that energy, that bounce, that excitable way about her. Sharice is the one who's in control, calm, cool, collective. Dylan takes that calm, cool, collective to another level. You're lucky if you get much out of him. He's not a talker and so forth, but they're all different in the way they are and so forth. And you know what? We were all different as well too, as children growing up.
I was literally thinking about that because I look at Sharice and Dylan more like your character.
You know what? Somebody came by
I
and
really
said the
think
same
so.
thing.
Yeah,
They
I
said
think
that.
so.
Right.
Whereas Candace and I think are more.
Right, because you and my husband are.
And me and Barry are more
you guys
like
got that personality,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that really works for you.
Yeah.
For me, I was not a talker, and I still struggle with talking and getting out there. If you remember the days I would just be in my room, in my quiet place. I'm just happy in my room all by myself. And yourself and Andrea would knock on the door, especially Andrea, and say, "Kareen, I'll give you $5 if you just come out and just hang with us. Come in my room, comb
my hair." Yes, exactly.
You remember those days?
And then after you comb it, then
Yeah.
she'll say, just
How
pull
about-
it out and,
and
do it again. Oh my
or
gosh.
how about a massage, like
Yeah.
right there? Because
Yeah.
again, but I'm a person now. I'm quite comfortable by myself, and Andrew's that way too. But
Yeah.
there was just something unique about her, just wanting us to just be able to touch each
Yeah,
other
yeah.
and so forth. But
And then Sophie was more outgoing, adventurous. She wasn't
Yeah.
afraid to do anything. She
Right.
would, jump in her car
she's
and
gone
drive
there.
away.
There
And
she is. Where
oh
she's
my gosh.
gone. But-
Yeah, everybody is different, and we all
Right.
go through different changes. Now,
Right.
I was just thinking that even when you got married, you
Yeah.
had to change again because we grew up together and we had, your mom, your dad, or you have a mom, or just a dad, or
Right.
whoever is your caregiver or your parental,
Right.
person. But when you move out on your own, then you have to change again. So there's this constant changing.
Yes.
You know?
One of the changes I had to adjust to was when Andrea left home and she married and she moved away, and because I guess life was just, for a long time, it was just the two of us, being the Jamaican born ones.
Yeah.
No,
Canadian. Sophie's Canadian. We're Canadian.
So that attachment for her was so strong. So when she married and she moved away, I think I cried forever for a long time. And then when we'd go to Ottawa to visit her, and then when we'd have to leave, oh my goodness, that I'd feel that pain in my, that stress of
Yeah.
up here,
Yeah.
where it just hurts all here, and you try not to cry and so forth. But it took a while until I grew up
Yeah.
and just accepted the fact that my sister is there. Our relationship, because she's that far, hasn't changed. We're just a distance away, and when we talk, we're
Yeah.
sisters.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yes, you're right. Changing with the marriage and how you have to, your whole life changes. And as we marry, each of us doing different things, different places, the change takes place.
Yeah, exactly. So it's important for us to understand that life cycles are always going to be progressing. So we grew up together. We've experienced sisterhood. We've experienced then love
and marriage
and relationship, and then we started our own family. And now we're at a different stage where we're now taking care of our parents, and this is another stage of life. We've become adults, and we're going to touch on menopause, women. Don't worry, we're going to get there, because even though you're a young person, you're going to get to that age, and you're going to hit menopause just like the rest of us. So we're going to touch it. But even coming to the point now that we take care of our parents, right? Mom is still, up and going and stuff. Dad is not as
physically
busy
well
going and stuff. But now we know that through life's changes, our role again has to change,
yes,
right?
yeah.
So before we go into that topic, we do have a question from social media. So go ahead, Cheyenne.
So your younger sister,
Oh, Lord.
Sophie, wants to know, was it hard for you guys to leave your younger sister when
Yes,
you guys
it
left
was.
home?
Yes,
it
yes.
was. Can I say how much older I am than Sophie?
Yes, you can.
Okay, all right. So this is it. This is the situation. I'm 14 years older than Sophie.
Let's
believe it or not.
repeat that. 14 years. Okay, go on.
Older than Sophie. So with that in mind, I spent a lot of time caring for Sophie, that big sister, and she was attached to my hip, basically. So there'd be times we'd go to the Westwood Mall then, and we'd walk in, and I'd push the stroller. And of course, during that time, a lot of people, because of the resemblance, thought Sophie was my child. And you're talking about back in the early 80s. Oh my goodness, did I ever get the looks?
Yeah.
And the nose up in the air, and so forth. And how do you explain to people, this is my baby sister, please, But I remember when I got married and I left home, and I yearned for Sophie. I missed her, really, really did. And I cried, and again, I cried again, geez.
Yeah.
Anyhow, and I remember my husband said to me, he says, listen, you know what? Pack your bags and go home and go back and take care of Sophie. But, jokingly. But the fact is that there is that feeling of separation. Yes, Sophie, when I left, I did miss you a whole lot. Love you, love you, love you, baby sister.
Yeah, and for me, we're 9 years apart, and but I did see her a little bit more often. I think because even though we're 9 years apart, we were able to interact more so than Kareen did, and stuff. And Sophie and we still talk a lot and stuff, but we all still talk. So, yes, Sophie, we did miss you when we had to leave you by yourself with mom and dad. So, but yes, so now we're talking about the stage now when we, as the children, we become the adult, and now we become the caregiver now again. And that's a different perspective. And it's something that is very hard to deal with, because it's another change that you're not prepared for change. Let me explain that to you first. We're not always prepared for change.
As much as we think we are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when it comes, we have to embrace it, we have to accept it, and we have to work with it. Because if we don't, it becomes a struggle. Let me go back to talking about giving birth to a child. If you try to resist what your body is trying to do, you're going to feel more pain than you need to. You need to embrace it, accept it, and work with it. Okay? I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just what came to me.
Because the change is coming whether you want it, yes or no. The
Yeah.
change is coming, even with how we feel in our body.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah.
So, my dad. So I usually get teary eye, and I'm just given warning from now if I do cry and stuff. Thank you, Jayla. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so when I look at my dad now, it's so hard to see the change that has happened. Now he's not well, so that's one thing.
Right.
But when you think he just turned 80 years old, I mean, we gotta give God thanks
For 80 years.
For 80 years old.
Yeah.
You know, so we give God thanks for that. But at the same time, I remember one summer when we had that really bad rainstorm, and he was trying to move the bricks, like we were trying to block the flooding from coming in the house, and he couldn't really lift it. Now, I'm not that strong either, but I was able to lift it and to try to do a border or a dam or something.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, my heart was like, oh my God. It was so hard to see him like that. That's one. Two, and then I started to think even more recent years, I'm going to get to 80.
Right.
I'm going to go through the changes. I'm going to have, whether,
Something.
I could be
anything
really good and healthy.
Right. And
but but at the same time,
it could be an accident and changes your whole
life.
That would be a major change right there. So
yeah.
It's funny that when we celebrated his birthday very recently, and there was that picture of him on the beach.
Oh yeah.
And he's got the
He's
macho man.
He's got his
and it was such a beautiful picture to see how young and vibrant he was, and so forth, and just see how time passes and how we change. And as you said, Michelle, I'm thinking about myself and thinking about what am I going to be at 80?
At 80, yeah.
What will my mental state be? What will my physical state be? What emotions will be going through my head, my mind at that time? Because even though we're aging and we're not well, our minds are still active.
Yeah.
And we're conscious of the fact that we're needing assistance, and it's a challenge to take the assistance in a lot of cases when you're an independent person. Like as Jalen was telling Shine, she doesn't need any help, right?
Yeah.
But some people, as you said, they resist the help because they figure in their own mind, I want to do this by myself.
Yeah.
This is personal and private caregiving. I can do this by myself, when in fact that they can't. But yes, it's really challenging seeing how our father is changing. We know him, loving memories of driving to Bronx, New York to see our grandfather, a long drive, and we'd wake up in the car, and we're eating Cracker Jacks Yes, Cracker Jacks, that ages us. And we'd have Cracker Jacks stuck all over us because we fell asleep. But I mean, now he's not driving, but and he can't drive anything close to that. But those are memories. And I think with the changes too, I think we have to also consider memory. We're going to have to remember things, and that's why it's great in every day of our life to create positive and good memories. Good and positive relationships is what you're going to have to. Right now we're in COVID and we can't go anywhere, so what we're going to have to live on, the fellowships and the things that we did has to be in our memories. So we got to store things in our memory bank, good things.
And I posted earlier today a picture of myself and my sisters. I think that was at Sharice's baby christening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's when my hair grew.
Hey, like we said, it grows when you're pregnant. So that, and how old is Sharice? 23. So 23 years ago. So that picture is 23 years ago.
Yeah.
And the current one was last year or the year before.
For the anniversary.
I think 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that the other one is 2 years ago. But it was nice to see the change and how life has gone on and everything. So again, with the changes, make sure you take pictures, keep memories alive with your family, and it's very important to do that. So now we're going to talk about menopause. So men who are watching, I know you're probably going to just turn off the Facebook, but don't do it. You need to know. And if you're there watching it by yourself, ladies, and your husband is close by, pull him close, because he needs to understand what you're going through.
Yes.
Okay? So, for example, and I had to look at some of this, but I know I'm starting to go through some stuff. Hot flashes. That is one thing that can drive you crazy. You just feel all of a sudden this heat that rises up within you, and you're just hot, you're sweating. And women, I know some of you know what I'm talking about, and you're just fanning and it seems like nothing can cool you down.
It's internal heat.
It's an internal heat, and it just comes up on you at any time. So you have hot flashes, weight gain.
Oh my God.
Yes, so weight gain is another thing that happens with women, is that we gain some weight. So men, be sensitive. If she asks you, does this dress make me look fat?
He may plead the fifth because he doesn't want to get in trouble.
Think wisely how you answer that question.
No, seriously.
I'm like,
that is a loaded question.
I know.
That is a loaded question.
We set them up for failure
We
sometimes.
set them up, so I don't think we should ask. I don't think we should ask. I don't think we should ask our friends either.
Yeah.
Because then that's a friendship broken now. Like, why'd you put that on?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's fair, and I know we've done it.
But we got to recognize it for ourselves. We know. When we went on the scale and it was 135 and now we're at 165, we know there's a big difference.
Yeah.
There is a difference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So ladies, let's be honest.
Around the waistline.
It happens to the best of us. Another one, I know, and I don't mean to make anybody feel uncomfortable, but another thing that women goes through, it's vaginal dryness. So that's another thing that we do go through when you go through menopause.
Right.
That's why it's important to eat healthy, to do your best
be hydrated, drink a lot of fluids, flush your system.
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta have a lot of, and that's good also for your kidney and just all of that stuff. Water. We heard about having lemon in our water and those things that are like detox in our bodies. So definitely.
Yeah. You have to keep on top of your health. So there was a survey, it says worst menopause symptoms. They said 94.5% had difficulty sleeping. Then 92% felt forgetful. So that's another thing. We tend to forget a lot. Okay. 83% had hot flashes. 87% experienced irritability.
Right.
I never say that word,
Yeah.
irritability. 85.5 had night sweats. So those are some of the things that you definitely can go through when you're going.
And those are the major ones.
Major ones, yeah. But you go through, I know some people, like for example, will start growing facial hair even.
Yes.
So facial hair can start happening. Hair loss. I know that I feel like like
I'm losing hair.
hair
My
right
my
in
hair's
the
my
hair.
hair's thinning too.
It's thinning, yeah.
Thinning.
So
Yeah.
those are some of the things. What do we do about it then? What can we do about it? Other than doing the, eating healthy and stuff like that.
Right. I think support.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to others who are going through the change as well. Have the discussion, because sometimes just knowing that you're not by yourself is helpful enough to bring you through your situation, right? Like we talk about our hair,
Yes.
and the fact already that our genetics is that we have fine, thin hair makes it even worse at this point. Our hair goes, and again, you have those who lose their hair, but you have others who gain facial hair, and again, that's the change in the estrogen in our bodies, and once that drops, then
Yeah. And you know what? The other thing I just realized, well,
Mhm.
not that I just realized, but it was something I was thinking about just a couple days ago,
What's
is
that?
that we get the aging spots.
Yeah.
I've got
yes,
them.
like skin tags and all
Yeah,
of that.
and like just little, it almost
I
looked like
don't
again
like- I don't
freckles
like
or
those.
something like that. I wish
really-
they were
really
nice
do-
freckles.
I
but
really don't like.
They're just-
I don't like the change.
Oh
I'm
my
just
gosh.
saying it. I just don't like
Yeah,
the change.
I've got to-
And the gray. Okay.
Oh,
well,
the gray
I know
hair.
that's not a part
Okay,
of
that's
menopause.
just getting older.
Aging.
Yes.
But I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like it.
Definitely.
I don't like the weight gain. I don't like a lot of things.
And we gotta exercise. We
Yes.
gotta exercise and be consistent. So
Right.
if you want change to happen, we have to be
Right.
consistent
For
with making
positive-
changes in our bodies.
for positive change. So to prepare ourselves as we age and as we get older, so we have to pay it forward. In other words, do good things now to our health, so that we are healthy longer.
Exactly. All right. So we have a comment.
Yeah. So Arlene Hamilton,
Hey, Arlene.
she was saying that to remember there's also premenopause before the real menopause.
Right.
And Claire Wood said to remember exercise is also very important.
Right.
Yes. That's true about the premenopause thing.
Right. Before you really get there, just kind of
Yeah, it edges you on.
Right.
You know what? It's just like when you're starting your period, you actually have symptoms that kind of prepare your body till
The
you
back
start
pain,
the actual
yeah,
period.
that back pain.
And the back pain is
and
like
the
a
headache.
symptom of having labor.
Right.
Because I'm telling you, every time I had my period, I still have my period, but every time I have my period and the back pain and oh my gosh, it was like, yes, this reminds me
Yeah.
of just going through labor. But yes,
Yeah.
thank you for those points. And exercise is
It's
key.
true. But again, we have to motivate. We have to be driven and motivated to do the exercise.
Yeah.
If we consider how the benefits of it, I'm testifying to myself.
Testify.
Yes.
Testify.
But have to be driven to it. If not, we'll just
Yeah, it's true.
humdrum.
Yeah. So maybe we
go.
should have a menopause club, where we encourage each other to exercise and take
Exercise.
care of ourselves. So, most definitely. So if you have any more questions about menopause, feel free to put it in the chat. But we're going to go on to something else now. This is to do with our society, because not only does change take place in our homes or in our bodies,
Right.
but it also takes place in our society, in our community. So we're seeing a lot of different things now in 2020 and in the past maybe 10 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, one of the things that when I was doing my research for this conversation is that never would we have thought back in the 60s or 70s that we would have, not we, but the US, would have a black president, right? So, I mean, that is history. That is a change that has happened. And of course, it did not only impact the United States of America, but it impacted the world at large.
That's right. Yes, having a black vice president elect, Kamala Harris.
Yes, thank you.
Right, and that's amazing. And not only that too, the different cultural part of it. She's coming out of Jamaican heritage,
Oh my
so for us
gosh,
as
yes,
proud
Jamaicans.
Jamaicans and stuff like that, and
Yes.
the Asian, Indian background as well too. That's just amazing.
She also went to school in Quebec, if
Oh,
Even though
really?
she went
Okay.
to school in Quebec for a period of time before she moved to America. So
All right. So
So
she's even from
passed through here as
from
well
here.
too. So
And
this
being
is also
female.
female,
Like-
and all those. A lot of checks have been checked off with her accomplishment
Yeah.
and so forth. If you listen to her acceptance speech, or the speech that she gave on the night they concluded that they had won the election, the fact is that she was saying that just consider every little girl, what your dream can be, what changes can take you
Right.
to a certain place. You
Yeah.
can be brought to greatness, and
Yeah.
that's basically what she's saying. So the sky's the limit. If we just make up our minds to accomplish, we can do anything.
Yeah, most definitely. So
Yeah.
it's amazing to see that type of change take
Right.
place. Truth be told, we really we limit ourselves because we get stuck in the now and saying, oh, this will never happen.
Right? It can't.
This can't happen.
Yeah.
But we have to realize that anything is possible. If we put our minds to it, then we can achieve it. Most definitely we can achieve it.
Right.
So we have that. And then we also have the fact that I was sharing with Kareen earlier that they were saying back in the 60s and 70s that people would go to church more.
Right.
Now, people don't go to church physically, not just talking about the pandemic, before the pandemic, okay?
Right.
We're going to church less, and we're talking about some of the reasons why people weren't going to church as often. You can share what you said to me earlier.
Right. Besides the fact of people believing because they go to school in their intellect and their intelligence, and they reason God out of the equation because of their learning, that's one thing that causes the attendance to churches to drop. But another thing also is majority of the time, and as we know in most churches are filled up with women as the majority of the membership, right? But back in that time, not as many women were working. So now that we have a lot more women in the workforce, and they're working the same hours as men, plus they're taking care of their children, growing their children, coming home and doing the homework and so forth. So a lot of these women now who are exhausted by the daily routine have bowed out of church. So that is why I believe one of, I'm sure, many reasons why people, the attendance have fallen, and probably also loss of confidence and faith in religious circles, what the media might have brought out. There's a lot of things in the media that has brought about abuse and different things way back when, with research, things are coming out. So with that, it's just crushed people's faith and confidence in the church. So that could be another reason why
yeah.
attendances have fallen, the trust factor.
Yeah, and I think people shop around now more than ever.
Yeah.
They shop around on social media. They shop around on YouTube, like watching services and not physically going to
And that's
the
more
church.
And this
And
is a
that's
more,
even more recent.
That's a more recent
But you know
change.
what? And it was happening before, but now with the pandemic,
Right.
more churches are forced now to make that change to go live on social media.
Right.
Right? So we see that change as well. Even certain things that haven't, my girls warned me I can't say certain things. So
But you're gonna say it anyhow,
no,
right?
I'm not. I'm gonna listen to them.
Listen.
Yes, I'll listen. But there are so many changes that have happened.
Okay.
But one of the things I'm going to end our program on, right, is about the fact of where we are today. Right now, Lady Smith and I, Kareen and Michelle, we're sitting on the altar at Kingdom Life Ministries. And so what I'm going to tell you is that change takes place at the altar. Okay? Change takes place at the altar. Sometimes we feel that we're looking at changes as it pertains to what we eat and where we go and how we live. But I'm here to also encourage you that change takes place at the altar. And then when I talk about the altar, I'm talking that place in your heart where God is a part of your everyday life. Because of God, we live and we have our being. Because of God, we are here today. Because of God, our mind functions. Because of God, the veins that run with the blood through it, He allows it to happen all the time without even thinking. Change takes place because of God. So I thought it was so appropriate to have this conversation about change here at the altar. So again, understand this. When change takes place in your life, understand it's because of God why you're going through the stages that you're going through, and God will continue to bring you through it safely, and He will encourage you when you feel down. So don't ever give up on God, because He'll never give up on you. As the song says,
That's
He'll
right.
never give up on you. So I want to encourage you to understand that change is a part of our lives. It's a part of our being.
It is.
And be encouraged that talk to someone, encourage someone, and embrace it, accept it, and work with it. And if you wanted to say anything lastly.
That it's very powerful that it's at the altar that we make submission. We come to that place of consciousness, and that's why we submit when we come to the altar. It's a place of awareness. So if we're speaking spiritually, yes, this is the place that we come when we're submitting our soul, our spirit, our lives to Him. But submission also comes when we're conscious of the other things that are in our bodies and in our situation, when we're aware of it, and then we're going to submit to the change that's necessary to make that situation better. So because He created us in His image, we know that we're body, soul, we are spirit. All of that in one. That's who we are. He breathed in us the breath of life. So when He requires change, He says, present your body as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is our reasonable service. And where were the sacrifices being burnt? They were being burnt on the altar, because there's a change that needed to take place, a place of repentance, a place of strength. So it's very fitting for us to be at the altar, because we're looking for a change to take place in us. And this daily sacrifice at the altar is needed for both our body, our soul, and our spirit.
Yeah. So change is always taking place, and we need God for that. So thank you for watching Truth Be Told in the House with Kareen Smith and Michelle Lorraine. Thank you for joining us. And if you've missed any of our other episodes, feel free to go to michellelorraine.com, and you can see the other podcasts also on YouTube at Michelle Lorraine. And thank you for watching, and have a good night. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on.
Friend, driving around the world, back again. That's what they're going to say. I don't even know the words.